If you're not willing to be used and abused by the narcissist, then they don't really see any use in you. However, narcissists do see potential use in just about everybody. In other words, narcissists think that they can use and abuse just about everybody. Of course, not all at once, but narcissists have this bad habit of thinking that they're more clever than other people, that they can game situations, that they can get people on board to their ideas and their views in nefarious ways. They don't think people can see through their orchestration of events, their sneakiness. Narcissists like pulling people's strings. They like watching people do their dirty deeds. They like watching people do them favors. They like watching people help them get their needs met in a very selfish way. And a lot of times it does work. There are a lot of people out there who are gullible, who are susceptible, who want to people please the narcissist, who don't want to disappoint the narcissist, maybe because the narcissist managed to place themselves in that person's life in such a way where they convince that person that the narcissist has something very unique to offer. And if the other person doesn't cooperate, they might lose out. In other words, narcissists try to gain leverage. And that's what narcissists do. They're always trying to find your weak spot. They're always trying to find that one thing you need, you miss, that you want, you desire. And they somehow try to place themselves as the potential provider of that thing to get you on board. And once they have you warmed up to them, or rather, the thing which they might be able to offer you, either now or in the future, even if it's just a future fake, they make you believe it. They expertly use that as leverage so that they can then try to use you in certain ways where you're most likely to cooperate with them because you don't want to upset them, you don't want to ruin a good thing. And that's what narcissists do. And if narcissists can't get you to want something that they can offer, sometimes they flip the script. Sometimes they'll try to find ways to punish you if you don't cooperate. And they'll carrot and stick. If they can't entice you to go along with them and their views and wishes, they might try to punish you into submission. But sometimes they do it in such a disguised way, it almost doesn't look like a punishment. But your subconscious tells you, oh, if you don't cooperate, if you don't please, if you don't do their favors, something bad might happen. Kind of like you feel this dark cloud. They are the dark cloud. But they like doing that in disguise. But it has the same effect. But not everybody is susceptible. Not everybody is willing to play that part. They can't pull everybody's strings. Not everybody has strings to pull. But narcissists tend to think that everybody's got a potential string. Everybody's got a potential weak spot. They just have to be more clever, more cunning, and they'll find out how to use the person. And what they often do is they'll often find themselves in situations where they try to get a lot of people, they try to get you to need them so that they can then use you in ways that are very self-serving to them. But over time, there might be a few people who they manage to get into that spot of dependency, of submission, of cooperation. But over time, the narcissist starts getting dependent on those people. The narcissist starts relying on the very people that they're trying to get reliant on them. In other words, the narcissist wants to make you dependent on them, but all of a sudden they become dependent on you. Because let's face it, it doesn't matter how clever and manipulating you are, you're not going to get the whole world to bow down and kiss your feet. You might get 3 or 4 people to do that. Maybe a few more. But you won't get that many. And all of a sudden, those few people who you have doing your wishes, all of a sudden you need them. You need them to pull strings for you. You need them to get things done for you. You being the narcissist, of course. The narcissist needs them to do things for the narcissist. Any kind of favor, service you can imagine, narcissists use these people for. And narcissists, they like to believe that these people will stick around perpetually. Otherwise, what's the point? Why would they work so hard to get somebody to submit if that person's suddenly going to unsubscribe to the narcissist after a few days or weeks? No, narcissists would like to see it for the long haul, on their watch anyway. But they see people as being weak. They see people as being inferior. They see people as not being very smart, because a narcissist is more clever, of course. They're geniuses, in a way, in their minds, this grandiose way of thinking. But when people tend to come around, and that's what they don't like. Narcissists don't like that people come around, that people start to do the maths, 1 + 1 = 2. You're dealing with the narcissist. The writing's on the walls. You're dealing with somebody who's very self-serving. They don't care about you. People start to realize over time. And the narcissist likes to think that, no, they can always find a way to get the person to resubmit. The narcissist wants you to submit, and maybe they manage to get that. But then they think they can keep you there forever. Because unfortunately for them, they can't get their needs met unless they have people doing their dirty deeds for them. They can't even self-regulate if they don't have somebody to supply them with praise and to take on their negative projection on a regular basis. And it's when you eventually realize that you're not really receiving anything in return, but you're only giving. And that's the punchline. They take, they don't give. You give, you don't receive from them. And then you start thinking, hold on a second. This doesn't make much sense. You can do better. You don't need them. And as soon as you start realizing you don't need them, and you start drifting away, that's when the narcissist realizes how much they need you. Some people say, oh, narcissists don't care about you. They don't care about people. Well, of course they don't care about you on a personal level, but they need you. They pretend they don't need anybody. They're much more dependent on the people to supply them than vice versa. That's why they put so much effort in their whole lives trying to guarantee supply, because they can't live without it. Narcissists underestimate people. They underestimate people's ability to see through them. They underestimate people's intelligence. They underestimate people's willingness to walk away. Unfortunately, it often takes a long time for certain people to have that realization. But this day and age, people, through information, they're switching on more quickly to toxic people who are using them and abusing them. And in the information age that we live in, narcissists are finding it more difficult to do what they used to do. And it's only going to get more difficult. Which forces them to have to not accept, because they don't really accept who they are, but it forces them to have to catch glimpses of their own fallacies, their own shortcomings, which is their need to get other people dependent on them, and their need to have supply, because as soon as they're low on supply, as soon as they don't have people doing their dirty deeds for them, supplying them, they become very dysregulated, very unstable, very just drained of life force and energy. They can't really operate. And that's, of course, a challenge they're going to face more and more as people start seeing through them. Thanks for watching.